Hello and welcome back to Bump Love in the DMs. We are back again with our guest co-host, Sarah Nsubuga. I almost called you Senyoni, which is still your name. But yes, Sarah Nsubuga. She's a stay-home mother of 3. And today we are answering another of your questions. Thank you so much for sending them through. This one's quite lengthy, so I'm going to try and run through it as quickly as possible. And we're going to keep her anonymous because she requested to be anonymous. But this is her question. My son recently has started using words and phrases that jaw drop me and cause chills in my spine. He is almost 3, though a very fast learner, and he has a quick ear. Recently, and what even moved me to come here was when he used "what the T," fill in the blanks phrase. He used it 3 times as an exclamation, innocently. At first, I thought he had said fake. But when he repeated it about 3 times, I was able to comprehend what he was saying. My hubby and I never imagined using such words in our everyday, let alone around our children. Our maid has been with us for 8 months now, and she doesn't seem like the type to use such words. However, we have a new neighbor who has older kids, 4, 7, and 9, and also a university young man, I think a brother. And they come around and he plays all manner of music. His pants are sagging. I'm sure you get the picture. My son had been fond of the other children that left the apartment, wanted to make friends with the new ones. But since we noticed change in his behavior and attitude, since he started playing with these kids, we had tried restricting him from entering into the neighbor's house while we're still in lockdown. But now that they are both back to work, this is what we have started hearing. When we ask the maid, she claims the boy will cry if you stop him from going to play with the other kids. I'm so confused now on how to address this. I feel that addressing this to the parents might cause friction. They are not the neighborly type. We have evidenced this a few times, yet my son's energy is the type you cannot contain indoors the whole day. Please advise me on what to do.
Oh well.
It's a hard one, right?
I really feel it's a hard one. It's really hard. But there's always alternatives for driving away a child from what they like. In that instance, I seem to think that it's a playful boy. He likes activity. Buy something as simple as a bike. Even if they like to be outside, let them, be busy. Because I'm sure what takes him to that house is maybe they have activity. For starters, there's many children there. Encourage play dates. If there's someone that can come and play with him, and be strict. Like if you've set a rule, let it stand. But I encourage alternative play stuff, simple things like blocks. They'll keep him in the house and you'll be shocked, So let your maid draw a routine, let your maid have a routine after breakfast, let's play this, and that will help. I think that can be an alternative.
I empathize with the mom because it's really hurting to find your child who you're nurturing in a certain way, choose to pick up other things because of the environment that they're in. But what I'm happy about is that at least she's found the source. It may not be the only source, but at least she's been observant to find out where is he picking this from. And it's clear this child is only 3. So if it was maybe a 10-year-old, I'm always about this. Why is it always them picking? Why isn't it your child teaching? Our parents, we've always had that problem that you think your child is always they are spoiling your child. And yet your child might be the problem. They may have picked it from somewhere else, from TV, for example. But a 3-year-old clearly is picking it from somewhere. And this is clear that it's the environment. You're not always there, you're at work. So your first instinct as a parent is to think that it's from without. One, you said the neighbors. It could also be from within. You said the house help is not that type. Maybe she does when you're not there. Do you know? You don't know. So that might be another source. Other source might be you're not there now. Remember, you've been monitoring your child during lockdown. Now you've left the house. The child may be exposed to TV programs or TV stations that your maid is watching, and that's where they are getting it from. So one, find the source. But I want to take you to a very extreme. And this is what comes with parenting, the decisions that we make as parents. It's clear that you're staying in a place where you can move because you've said you had neighbors. So I'm getting the feeling that your setting is kind of a rented situation of apartments or semi-detached kind of houses. So you are not in control of your environment. What does this mean? This means that you will never know who is coming next door and who is going to play with your child. And because of that, you are not going to be in control. So what do? I love what Rosette said. Find alternative ways of, you know your child is active. Look for other things to do. But where the extreme goes, I'll tell you one extreme that I did. My decision to move and stay by myself with my child and decide to take ourselves away from neighbors was that. We had a very naughty children living next door. And even the neighbor of another one was also problematic for me, the adult. So I realized I can never ever control the people who come to stay around me, but I can control where I am. So I decided to move to a place, and you know, I know this might have a financial implications, but I don't know what your situation is. But this should be motivation for you to be able to control your environment. If it means lock people out of your gate, lock people out of your door, keep your child within, or there is no, my child is active, he has to go outside and play with neighbors. But what is your child picking if he's going outside, play with neighbors? So do whatever it takes to control your environment. That's just what I can tell you.
Once you become a parent, you realize that there are going to be certain decisions you will make. People may not understand them. They might think you are being kajanja, or you're stressing your child, you are making them suffer. But I'm telling you, you have one opportunity to raise your child and only one. So there are going to have to be, sacrifices that you make, compromises that you make. For me, I am of the view, you are the parent, you say you're not going to the neighbor's child, the child will not die. Correct. Stay in the house, provide alternatives. If you can't afford any of that, or maybe you can't do that, move. It has to be drastic, because you're raising this child, you only have one opportunity. It's not going to come around again. Yeah.
I like how Yvonne said it has to be drastic because the situation is so drastic. Yeah. The measures that have to be taken have to be drastic. So the maid says, he cries when he wants to, when she refuses him to go and play. Maybe the maid needs some help. Yeah. Maybe she needs her work reduced if she's the one washing, cooking, cleaning. Also as women, sometimes we think, tell them. We think these people who come to help us are actually the owners of the home. They're the ones supposed to do everything. If you can't do what you're telling her to do in those hours that you're leaving her there, think about her. Yeah. If you can't wash the clothes, iron them, clean the house, cook the food twice for the child, and for you when you come back in the evening, plus some 4 snacks in between there somewhere, play with him. She also needs a break. Then she sleeps at 11, she's supposed to wake up at 5. At night she sleeps with the child in the bed. Be considerate. You may need, and Pumla mentioned that some of these things may need they have financial implications. So you may need to reduce her work, maybe get a second help. Say, okay, instead of cooking twice, let's cook a meal once. Yeah. So that she has some free time. Create a schedule. There are all these ways around it, and I'm glad that you've reached out, to get all these ideas. It needs to be drastic, and you have to know what's the goal. Yeah. You have to know what you want your child to get, because like Pumla said, you're trying to raise this child, and then
they're picking that from
they are picking all these things from and you have to take drastic measures. Yeah. If it needs to talk to the maid, like Pumla said, it might not be from the neighbors, it might be from your actual house help. So find out what's happening. Try to get, the cause of the issue, but try to reduce your maid's work so that she can spend more time playing with your active child. Even you might get tired playing with your active child. Now, the maid who has to do all these things, yes? You may have to find a way to reduce her work so that she has enough time to do that with your child. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Thanks a lot, Sarah. Thanks, ladies. That was your question. You asked to stay anonymous, and I hope that this has been helpful. Drastic situation, drastic measures. If you don't remember anything we have said. Thank you so much for your question. If you have something that's bothering you about motherhood, about parenting, get into our DMs. We are happy to answer your questions with moms that have been there or with fathers that have been there, and give you all the information that you need. Remember, mom life is not bad life, and mothering ain't suffering. So catch you next time in our DMs.